Hey guys, real quick, just wanted to do a quick little introduction here. We recorded this Monday at around 5:30 p.m. and we talk a little bit about Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant and the future of the Brooklyn Nets and what's going to happen. And right after we finished recording, we all got a notification that Kyrie Irving is staying in Brooklyn. So when you're listening to all of that, just know that we had no idea that that was happening, obviously. Anyways, enjoy the episode. Bye.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Cork It podcast. My name is Kyle. I'm joined here by Dominic and JJ as usual. We got a special guest here filling in for Nico, Mr. Ian Kirby himself.
What's up?
Young Kerbo.
So let's just start off. We're going to do a little bit of video around the league, but we're going to cut it a little bit short just because we are going to jump into some draft content, and that's most of my stuff from around the league is draft content. The NBA draft was this weekend. We didn't get a chance to really talk much about it, so that's going to be something that we're going to look to talk for. The first thing that I want to do to kick off the Around the League is Ole Miss won the College Baseball World Series.
Yep.
Very big win over Oklahoma. That was a great job all around. And then most of the stuff news-wise has been NBA related. So, I mean, we've got KD.
Avalanche won.
Avalanche, yes.
Oh,
You're
nice.
right. Avalanche won Stanley Cup. They won just last night. I think that's why it slipped my mind.
Yep.
Archie Manning committing to Texas.
Yep, I saw that as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's some big news stories. Avalanche winning in 6. That was pretty big. I kind of saw it from the start. I mean, they were just steamrolling through teams in the playoffs, so it didn't seem like there was going to be much competition up until the end, and even then, they did an incredible job of just pulling through for that. So first title since 2001. That's what I saw, third in team history. So
they already dented the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, they immediately dropped it, like celebrating. It was so funny. That was So around the league there, we got Archie Manning committing. In baseball, the Knicks got no hit by the Astros the Yankees, excuse me.
Yeah.
The Yankees got no hit by the Astros.
Stadium.
Yeah.
And the last team to do it was the Astros at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
So
well, the Yankees are hot, so seeing them get no hit was surprising. Yeah. I was shocked.
They'll
by
be
that.
fine.
They will be.
Do you think Aaron Judge stays?
No. In the Yankees, yeah. For now, unless if they.
Doesn't he have? He's up for.
Yeah, his contract's up this.
Yeah, I was gonna say his contract's up.
I don't. With how he's playing now, yeah. Because I don't know who else they try and keep that's like playing at that level. Because Rizzo isn't. I don't think he's doing as good. Gallo isn't doing as good. So
yeah.
If the Yankees don't win the World Series this year, Judge is gone.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. It's gonna be such a big question mark
if they don't get to the conference championship, then they won't. Or if they AL, I know I forget what they're in, but I think AL. But
yeah,
if they don't if they don't win the pennant, then Judge is probably gone. But
I agree with that. You guys got anything for around the league you want to talk about?
No.
I don't think so.
All right, let's jump into some draft content then, because that's the biggest topic of discussion, and I've got some stuff to think about. So NBA in general, we saw the Nets this week. We saw Kyrie trying to, test free agency. We got KD being like, if Kyrie's gone, I'm gone. Monitoring the situation closely. It came out today on Monday that the Nets would rather lose both stars than basically do what they did last year, was the quote, which what they did last year was play like not many games with Kyrie, and it was mostly KD for most of the season. So they'd rather just lose them both or keep them both, but they're not doing one or the other, which means if Kyrie's gone, KD's gone. So that's going to be a huge topic of discussion, and I think we might hit on that a little bit after we talk about draft content. So real quick, NBA drafts the other night. I released my mock draft on the day of the draft, and I posted it on our Instagram. Go check that out.
It was pretty solid.
It was actually pretty solid. Up at the top, it was pretty solid. And I realized too is that like I got a lot of like guys in like the right spots, like areas, I guess. And I got guys on the right teams, so I guessed Ivy to the Pistons, but in my mock draft I had the Pistons trading up a pick because I just figured that the Kings would try to get something out of that because I knew how much the Pistons wanted Ivy. But I didn't expect the Kings to just kind of sit on not settle for Keegan Murray, but in a sense like everyone wanted Jaden Ivey at 4. I thought they would try to, trade with someone to try and get up. Keegan Murray's a great player. He's a great prospect. And I mean, the other thing with the Kings is you got to draft a guy that wants to be in Sacramento. And Jaden Ivey made it clear that he did not want to play in Sacramento. He was the only guy to actually say, like, when they asked him, like, hey, like, how would you feel about playing in Sacramento? And he would say, it wouldn't be the worst thing. Like, that's not a guy you want to draft into your, like, as like a franchise guy. So I think they did the right choice. I just thought that the Pistons might move up a spot. And then I also thought Shaden Sharp would fall to 8, and Dyson Daniels instead fell to 8, and Sharp went at 7, and Mathurin went at 6, which I just had Dyson, Mathurin, then Sharp. So
Mathurin
mine was a little bit.
will be scary next year.
Yeah, Mathurin is going to be a lot of fun to see in
he has
Indiana.
He's very confident. He's a confident player.
I like it. See, but that's the thing I like find interesting about some of the players, and this is the one thing I don't like as much about the draft, and it's some of the like flack that Chet Holmgren has gotten is they're like, yeah, he's too cocky, he's too confident, he needs to be humbled. And I'm like, when you're coming in as a rookie, you kind of have to have a level of confidence. Like I said, you don't need to be arrogant about it, but I don't think Chet has said anything too cocky. I think a lot of
Chet
stuff
has never played in a basketball game where he's been the worst player on the floor.
Right.
Exactly.
And I think the other thing is people are also taking stretches too. Like he went to the Mavericks conference finals game and he said to Luka Doncic, he's like, yeah, I'll see you out there next year. And people were like, he's way too confident. I'm like, no, it's a fact. He's going to be on the court next year. Like, that's not confidence. And, like, it was the same thing as, like, they asked him a question. They're like, who do you most likely want to dunk on, like, in the league?
Yeah.
And his answer was whoever's under the rim.
Yeah.
And people were like, he's way too confident. Like, he's way too cocky. He needs to be humbled. I'm like, that's just a normal answer. I think people are, like, stretching on that to try and find something to dislike with him. I feel like a lot of people do that with higher picks. Because, like, I mean, I did that all last year with Cade Cunningham. I can't even lie. I was like, I need this dude to be bad because I like, couldn't stand him for some reason. But I think it's, like, it goes along with that, like, you wish he was on your team type of thing. Like, the number 1 pick, like, people are going to do it with Banchero. People are going to do it with, Smith and Holmgren. People did it last year with Edwards and LaMelo and, guys that are on the top teams. They try to find something, like, because they're just kind of, like, they wish they were on their team. And I understand it. Like, I did that with Cade Cunningham, and I wanted him to be in OKC super badly. I did it a little bit with Evan Mobley because I wanted him to be in OKC so badly. But, I mean, it's one of those things where I just think that if you're coming in as a rookie, you kind of have to have that level of confidence, or else, you can't be timid. Because if you go into the league expecting, like, basically, like, going to the league being like, well, these guys are a lot better than I am and all this stuff, you're going to, like, get pushed around a little bit. You got to have that little bit of confidence. No, that's to say you can't be overconfident. You kind of got to pay your dues at the start, but still. But, yeah, that was my little ramble on that because I thought it was funny. But so the big winners, I'd say, of draft night were the Pistons, Thunder, and the Spurs actually had a pretty solid draft. I can't even lie.
Yeah.
Spurs had a good draft.
They're going to be.
And
Good.
I would say the losers are the Knicks.
I don't know. Okay, I'm going to go off on the Knicks for a little bit. Like, why are you putting all your chips in for Jalen Brunson out of all players? I just don't understand it.
He's also a lot older than I realized he was. Because people were like, yeah, Jalen Brunson, he's a young guy. He's 25. Like, I mean, if we had seen this kind of – and that's the thing about the NBA is I feel like as, like, people are getting younger and younger, like the stars are getting younger and younger, you can kind of tell when a player's going to be, like, a stud from age, like, 22. Like, 21, 22, you're going to tell he's going to be a stud. If he just starts blooming at 25, and this was my kind of, like, my thing with Christian Wood, is, like, Christian Wood kind of started, like, showing some, like, really, like, high praise play, and he was, like, playing at a high level. But he was doing it around, like, the 25. I feel like those are going to be good starters, but those aren't going to be franchise guys. Right, and they might slip into like an all-star as like an injury replacement, but they're never going to be the franchise player.
Jalen Brunson scored 40 points once in the playoffs, and everyone's like, he's a great player, and I think Dallas is a great spot for Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
I don't think Jalen Brunson can do it by himself.
Right,
Yeah.
and I also feel like Jalen Brunson's going to be fantastic. He's a great player. Like, don't get me wrong,
he
and he's like a Christian Wood type where he's going to be a great starter, average maybe 20 a game, but like you also have to be like averaging 24 and like 6 or something like that to get an all-star recognition.
Yeah, but also I feel like Brunson got a lot of playing time when Tim Hardaway got injured. Because like I think Tim Hardaway, when healthy, is one of the most underrated guards in the NBA.
I agree.
I feel like with him coming back, I feel like Brunson will not be getting as much playing time. So
yeah, and that's a fair judgment.
And I mean, it kind of can just be like situational. And like to me, Brunson is still like, I wouldn't say he's old yet, but like I would still kind of consider him young because like Tatum, he's 24.
I mean, Devin Booker's been in the league how many years? And
yeah,
still
like we
only-
still
Right.
like
He's
24, 25.
Yeah.
Like that's still young, at least when
Yeah,
you're
for
looking
ba-
at
for
some of these
basketball, that's
players. Yeah, and so it's maybe not young in his career, but like
Mhm.
as a person, like that's young, and so that's why I mean I personally I think his best situation is Dallas if it's like him and Luka,
Mhm.
but yeah, I mean him being on his own, I'm not sure how that would be. I personally don't think he'll do that well.
He's a
but
good player, like,
Right.
but he's just not the franchise cornerstone that the Knicks need to get. I also think the Knicks
Definitely,
like
I don't
truly
think so.
need to blow it up. Like, I think they're spending too much time. Like,
Right.
they're riding off of that good playoff run,
Mhm.
like with Julius Randle, but then they're like, I don't know, like, why they're trying to, like, I think they need to try and move some of these pieces and
Yeah.
actually try to draft like a number 1 guy or a number 2 guy, because
For
I don't
sure.
think they're gonna, unless they can get a haul for some of these players to get like lots of young draft picks. But like I said, they need to either just get a good free agent. Like, the Knicks
Like,
used
why
to
trade
be
a pick and not draft Ochai?
right.
Like,
I agree.
They had
Mhm.
a ton of players they could have picked. Like, you're
Mhm.
completely right. They could have got that star player like in 3 years and
Yeah.
just rebuild from there.
And also
Yeah.
the picks that they got from the Thunder for the 12th pick, I was kind of shocked. It was like there was like 3 first-round picks, and I was like, it's kind of a lot for like the number 12 pick. But I found out
Yeah.
the protections are all like top 5, top 3 protected, and they are like Denver's picks, and some of them are top 5 protected, some of them are lottery protected, but they're like Denver's picks, and I think a Detroit pick, and then another playoff team's pick. And I'm like, those picks aren't gonna come into fruition, because like if they don't hit with the protections, the Thunder keep them, and then they just go the next year if they hit, and then the Knicks get them. So like they might not get those picks, and like they're like some of them are 2023 draft picks. They might not get them until 2026 because of the teams that are gonna be making the playoffs. Like I think it's like a Heat pick and a Denver pick. Those picks aren't gonna those teams aren't gonna be out of the playoffs like in the lottery, so that the Knicks can have that pick until the later in their careers, like when like Jokic is gone, or when the Heat finally like blow things up and Jimmy Butler retires. But like that's gonna be years from now.
Right.
Like I feel like they kind of got robbed in that sense. But I just think that the Knicks just did a poor job at draft night of, moving assets that they shouldn't have, not trying to draft guys that they should have. But I think that was a tough thing. Another big thing from draft night, the biggest smokescreen ever, Paolo Banchero to the Magic, was insane. I think that was absolutely nuts. The fact that either he did work out with the Magic and they just didn't cover it, because I don't think he went to Orlando to meet with the guy.
I don't think so either.
Jabari Smith only went to Orlando and OKC, and he didn't even meet with the Rockets. And the fact that Jabari Smith was the number 1 guy since day 2 or 3, I would say, because Chet was number 1 for a little bit, and then it became Jabari. And then on draft night, 35 seconds before they make the pick, Woj is like, yeah, I'm hearing that they want Banchero right now, and they pick Banchero. I think that's the biggest smokescreen ever. I was shocked by that. And the other thing that I found interesting too was that OKC met with both Chet and Jabari Smith. And they had the option of both of them at number 2, and they still went with Chet, which I think means that OKC sees something that we don't with Chet, because a lot of people, Chet's a generational talent, opportunity, he probably had the highest upside at that draft. He also probably has pretty high bust potential just because of his frame. So I think OKC saw something that we didn't.
Upside.
Jabari's got super high upside too.
And I feel like he doesn't need as much work as Holmgren.
Right. I agree with that.
Because I feel like if Holmgren gets injured, that's it.
Yeah.
I see
Jabari's
him
better
having-
at creating for himself too.
Yeah, but Holmgren also doesn't have a history of injuries that we know of. There was that whole thing with his medical stuff that he didn't give his medical information to all the teams.
The other thing I saw is today in an interview, he said that he doesn't feel like he needs to bulk, which I don't disagree with, but at the same time, if you're 7'1" and 190, you're not going to be able to keep up with Joel Embiid
Not at all.
and all the other big centers.
I
so.
think the other thing too is that you want him to get bulkier healthily though, because we saw
like what Giannis did.
Yeah,
I
what
want him to
Giannis
be
did.
solid.
Because what we saw though is
sometimes
you can get the weight gain and it be a problem.
Yeah,
with Zion.
Not like
Zion's
Jokic.
injuries came from him being too heavy.
Yeah.
And his knee injury, he had to relearn how to walk because he was weighing too much on his knees.
Yeah.
So I think that's another thing that you have to find that happy medium. So I think that would be interesting to see. But I was very surprised by the Paolo, Chet, and Jabari, that top three.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Chet would be in OKC no matter what. I think they got their guy. They wanted Chet from the start. I also shout out to me for calling this in January. I commented on Chet Holmgren's TikTok, "You're gonna love OKC," and then he's in OKC now. So shout out me, because I called that in January.
Shout out you, Kyle.
I had to say that. I had to say that. Real quick, I also want to talk about the Spurs, because the Spurs had an incredible draft night. I think Sohan at 9 was interesting, because I didn't really think he would crack. I mean, there was a chance he wouldn't crack the lottery, because he's such a defensive-minded player. He's a Dennis Rodman type player. He's not a great offensive player, but he's a fantastic defensive player, great rebounder, and I think he's gonna fit the Spurs system really well. He's gonna be a great Spurs type player.
All 3 rookies the Spurs drafted, Coach Pop is gonna love. These are all hard workers.
Branham too.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him.
I'm excited for his fit in San Antonio, because
He's gonna be a starter.
He should be a starter.
Yeah.
I'd say. I think he's gonna start in San Antonio day one. He's gonna be a great scorer. Who do you have starting over him?
Him and Murray
I don't
are
know.
moving backwards.
Because I mean, Derek White was the starting shooting guard, and then they moved him to Boston.
Is Walker still there?
Lonnie Walker, I would still start Branham over Lonnie Walker.
Yeah, they could interchange.
I think Murray Branham, and then Keldon Johnson at the 3, and if they want to start Sohan at the 4, they can, and then they've got Jakob Poeltl at the 5. I think it's there. I like what they're
They'll
doing.
be dangerous.
They'll be dangerous, and I think
I
that
don't like the Pistons.
the
in a
Pistons
sense.
are going to be good. I want to talk about the Pistons here in a second, but the Spurs are going to be very interesting. I really like their draft. I think that they did the right thing with like actually hitting on really high draft picks, because that's the thing you need to do. If they're going to keep Murray, they need to hit on their next couple draft picks, because that's the only way they're going to like start to build a future and build a winning culture back up, because the Spurs went from being like one of the best dynasties of all times to a consistent like 7 or 8 seed with DeMar DeRozan. They were cracking the playoffs, they'd miss out on like the 9 seed or something like that. And then like now being like kind of closer to higher up in the lottery, picking at number 9, hitting on a guy like Sohan, and then also getting a great guy in Branham. I'm really excited to see what the Spurs do next year.
And that's how they're going to get their players, because
right.
San Antonio's not a free agent destination.
It's
so.
tough for those smaller markets, but that's how you're going to have to do it.
Yeah.
Is in the
and they've done
draft.
it before, so.
Why are you smiling?
Just San Antonio. It's a great place to live.
Texas is a great place to live.
I got family down in San Antonio. It's honestly a really nice place.
I'm not saying it's a bad place to live.
I
I'm
wasn't.
saying
I was.
people are going to go to Miami or.
I wasn't.
I thought you were
wasn't
about to
saying.
pull a Charles Barkley right there.
I wasn't saying anything. I wasn't saying anything or like that anyone was saying anything bad. I was just. San Antonio's a great place.
I've
got family down there.
I actually went to San Antonio to see a Spurs game one year. It was actually super fun.
It's a great franchise.
They've got a good and
It is.
And not to mention, these guys are also going to be coached under Coach Greg Popovich for
Yeah.
their first
goat.
couple seasons at least.
Actually, not to go. Second to Phil. But.
Okay. The other team we want to talk about.
Auerbach?
What?
Never mind.
That's the topic for another.
That's
time.
another topic.
Other team we want to talk about. Pistons had a great draft.
Yeah.
Landed Ivy, who's going to be very scary next to Cade Cunningham. I agree with that. And then also they got their center, which was interesting, because it seemed like for a while the Pistons were going to be the team, like the threat to land DeAndre Ayton, whether that be through free agency, paying him the max that the Suns won't want to match, or through sign and trade, try and get him from Phoenix. But the interesting thing is they went with, they traded with, it was like a 3-team trade with the Knicks and the Hornets. And they landed
There were so many
Kemba Walker.
too.
Did they land Kemba Walker? And
Yeah.
they were going to buy him out. So they're going to clear that cap. And then they're also drafted Jalen Duren from Memphis, who I also really liked his fit on OKC before we drafted Chet.
But honestly, Duran could play the 4.
He could, but in today's game, probably
he's quick.
but
He
he
doesn't
doesn't
have a shot.
He doesn't have a shot. And in today's game, with how many teams utilize the stretch 4, like that kind of idea, it's going to be very, very tough
And
for him
Detroit's
to play the
not
4.
really a team with shooters.
Right. And I mean, Ivy was, he's going to be a decent shooter. So I think,
Most of his game is.
most of his game's on the floor, but I think he could still shoot the ball. Yeah, and him and Cade are going to be like Cade's a pretty decent shooter.
He's a
and
better
gonna,
shooter than Ivy.
And they're both going to improve. I mean, it's not like both of their games are going to be stagnant with their three-point shooting, especially in today's game. It's just got to improve.
Right.
I think Sadiq Bey is, streaky, but
He scored 40 once, right?
yeah, he scored 40 a couple times. He had a 50-point this last
that's
year.
what I thought.
I know he's gonna be good in the future. They've got a nice future in Detroit, and I think that'll be a fun team to watch if they can finally sneak back into the playoffs. Because I feel so bad for their multiple years of Andre Drummond as their best player, like leading them to the 8th seed.
The Penguin.
It was tough. It's tough. But they made some great moves. I really liked what they were doing. But that means that Ayton's probably going to wind up somewhere else, which now I think Dominic's thinking is the Nets with a sign and trade with KD.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were saying that earlier,
Uh-huh.
how you think that's going to happen. But I think that's a big thing right now. I know we have to talk about it a little bit. I like the Thunder's draft. Chet Holmgren I liked a lot. I liked his pick. I wasn't super high on Ousmane Dieng for a while because he's not he's like kind of a project because like a lot you find that with EJ Liddell.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like
Yeah.
EJ Liddell. He kind of fell kind of far though.
I
I was surprised. Fell to the
just
second
think
round.
He was such a shot creator at Ohio State and was like the leader of that team, but I feel like that's not going to be his role in the NBA.
Right.
Like I kind of see him having to do what Jay Sean Tate did
Yeah.
in
Yep.
Houston, which is
he's
like,
gonna be the glue guy.
Yeah, and he's gonna have to make all of his opportunities off of hustle plays. Which,
Right.
I mean, he's strong and he's physical.
Right.
So
And he's gonna get Zion's minutes until he's healthy. So
True. That is true. But yeah, I didn't like Ousmane Dieng because he was kind of a bit of a project. I mean, foreign-born players, you either know right away that they're going to be great or you're going to have to work with them a little bit. He didn't average the best stats ever, but in a lot of those foreign markets, you kind of take a hit on stats because, the game moves a lot slower and it's a little more physical. So I didn't love that pick, but I was pretty happy with the Jalen Williams pick, the first Jalen Williams pick. I thought from Santa Clara, he's going to be a good guy to bring off the bench. He's a pretty good shooter. He shot like really high percentage on catch and shoot threes, which the Thunder need 3-point shooting very badly. And then I love the second Jalen Williams pick from Arkansas, 2 guys named Jalen Williams. But I love that pick as well. He's a great guy. I know that I was talking to my buddy Brody, and he was like, I was so mad that the Thunder picked him there because I wanted the Lakers to take him with the next pick. And I think that he's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I really am excited about the young core that they have in Oklahoma City. But they've got they've got 24 people on the roster right now.
yeah.
So they have to make some
I mean,
cuts.
they're young, but they also have Shea, who's experienced. They have
Dort, Giddey. And I mean, Giddey's still the second year, but
I could see him getting rid of Dort.
yeah, I keep seeing a ton of people trying to get rid of Dort. My problem with trying to get rid of Dort is that he's still so young and he's improved exponentially.
But you can't build a team around him. That's what
You
I'm
can't
saying.
build a team around Dort, but he's still going to be if
But
you're going to
he's
be
gonna have value. That's what I'm saying. You
Right.
can trade him, and he has probably one of the most value on your team.
He probably does, and that's expendable. A
Yeah.
player that's you could go without. He's got the highest value, that's for sure. So if we were gonna trade up, I mean, every trade package would have had to have Lou Dort in it. I mean, I'm personally I really like Dort, and it's also just
No, I do
that's
too.
a guy that you need on your if you're a contender, that's a guy you need on your floor. If you're a contender, you need that defense off the bench.
Okay.
If you
Sure.
no, but seriously, if you're if you're going for a title, that's a type of guy you need, a great defender who can provide a little bit on the offensive end. You don't think so?
Yes, but I don't really think of Dort when it comes to that.
I mean, I guess I've seen
Dort's a great player. He went to my school.
Right.
I'm gonna give him credit, but the Thunder do not need him.
Oh no, it's not about the I'm saying if you
He's a great player to have, yes, but the Thunder do not need him.
okay, that's not what I was saying about with the Thunder. I was saying a lot of these contenders, teams going to the finals, I think would love to have him on their team.
Sure, everyone
That's
would
what.
love
That's
to have
okay.
Dort.
Then what are we doing? Why'd you disagree with me?
I don't know what you're trying to say here.
I was saying that's a guy you need. That's a guy you'd want on your team if you're a
I'll
contender.
take Dort.
Okay, then what is this?
I don't know.
All right. So yeah, that's the NBA draft in a nutshell. Did you guys have anybody else that you liked? I heard that I'm sorry, real quick. I heard that the Trailblazers love Shaden Sharp in their workout, and that's why they took him at 7. Which he's gonna be the biggest question mark out of this draft class. So
I think Anthony Simmons and him and Lillard will be a decent front court to watch.
yeah, Anthony Simons is pretty good. I really like him a lot.
Oshai in Cleveland is.
Oshai in Cleveland.
I really like that
I like
pick,
that
too.
pick. You guys got anyone else you want to talk about?
That was
No.
pretty good talk.
Yeah. All right. Real quick, we'll talk about this real quick. You got KD landing spots or Kyrie landing spots. I heard that
Phoenix
Kyrie.
and LA, baby.
So I hear Kyrie's only got interest from the Lakers right now.
The Lakers offered a sign and trade today.
Really?
Yeah, to Brooklyn.
Was it Russ,
Russ,
THT, and
yeah.
first?
But it
Basically.
wasn't. Woj said it was just like he didn't give every detail, but it was Russ and Kyrie were.
Yeah.
It was basically Russ for Kyrie.
Yeah.
Gotta go get.
Kyrie.
Gotta go get a new Russell Westbrook jersey.
What is it? Number. What number? Do we
5?
So many, dude.
5 or 6.
I need him to stick around on a team.
It went Thunder.
I've got a couple. I've got
Rockets.
2 Thunder, 2 Rockets, Wizards,
Lakers.
UCLA, Lakers.
Yeah, it'd be number 5. Team number 5.
Yes, sir.
3 in the past 3 years.
That's my goat.
3 or 4 in the past 3 years.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's not 4 in the last 3 years.
No. I was saying like 3 in the last 3 years or 4 in the last 4 years.
Yeah, it'll be a new
Like
team.
KD is what Phoenix needs, and like it seems all.
Yeah, but so I agree with the KD to Phoenix. I think the trade package
KD's
has
what
to be
any team needs.
trade package has to be 8.
I know,
and-
but like Phoenix was missing a scorer. That's
Yeah.
really
that's true. That's true.
Mhm.
a
Isn't
player
that
that
what's
can.
Booker's supposed to be?
He's supposed to be, but he can't. Like he needs someone next to him. We already had this discussion off the podcast where I think the Suns are very similar to Toy Story. I'm gonna say this analogy on the podcast now.
Oh, Toy Story.
Chris
Okay.
Paul is Woody, and Devin Booker is Buzz Lightyear. Chris Paul is the leader, just like Woody is in Toy Story,
Mhm.
but he needs other toys to do well. And Devin Booker is this new spectacular toy in Buzz Lightyear, but he has some confidence issues. So that's why Kevin Durant needs to come in.
So who's Kevin Durant?
Let's say Byrie.
Is he Slinky?
Slinky. I was gonna say Slinky.
But still, Kevin Durant is the guy that he can create for himself, and Devin Booker doesn't have to be face guarded the whole entire game.
Is Jay Crowder Rex?
I hope so.
Who's Mr. Potato Head?
Mr. Potato Head is
Monty Williams.
JaVale McGee.
But yeah, that's my
Anyways.
analogy for the Phoenix Suns Toy Story.
I kind of like the analogy. I really do like the analogy. I think that KD to the Suns would be fantastic, but I think
Well,
KD to any team would be fantastic.
Yeah,
but I do
any
think
team
out of
KD.
any team that wants to like win now in a sense, I think the Suns have the best package because I think if you package sign and trade with Ayton, I think if you do that and then Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, then you would have to put in maybe like 1 pick. And it might not even have to be it could be like a really far away first round pick, and you won't have to really include it because you're giving like a couple really like good young guys that could improve to be have star potential. Because I always said that KD's value was so undervalued in a lot of these mock trades. Like people were saying like to the Clippers and they were saying like Luke Kennard and Ibaka Zubac and then a couple picks, and I was like, that's not gonna get KD. I think you need to give either an already established all-star, a future all-star, and some picks.
I mean,
like
if the Nets, like we said, they'd rather get rid of both than keep just one. I feel like they might not necessarily be looking for that replacement star,
They'll be looking.
I don't think they're
That's
looking
where
for
I
a
don't like-
replacement star.
or like. But I feel
No,
like
I
a trade with like a bunch of picks
Yeah,
might be
I
more
think they're gonna-
enticing
I
than
The
a
Nets already
trade
have a
with
solid
some.
team too.
But I think you would rather take like a good young, like kind of like a Thunder haul that they took for Paul George, like a good, like a young future all-star and a lot of picks. Is what I think KD's value is. I mean, it's higher than Paul George's was when the Thunder traded him.
For sure.
So I think that Suns trade, you get 2 like good young guys with a lot of potential, plus Cameron Johnson, and then you could get 2 or 3 first-round picks. I
Yeah,
think that's
for sure.
KD's value. Like basically for the Suns, that means almost automatic championship. Like if you have KD, the
Well, I
Suns
thought
won. The
that's what
Suns
it
won
was this
60
year.
games this year, and if you add KD to that team, they're winning the championship.
I'd say.
I would
I'd
agree.
Say, yeah.
I
I'd
mean,
say that- I'd say
obviously
they
you
do.
can't say automatic, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, especially
without
after-
injury.
Be
Right.
pretty
Yeah,
close.
without
it'd
injury.
be pretty
Hard.
close to automatic.
And then, so what you look like if you were the Nets, though, is, let's say all this happens the way it does. The Nets add Russell Westbrook, THT, a first-round pick from them. And then they're going to have Jalen Duren, Mikal Bridges, Ben Simmons, and Cameron Johnson, along with like Seth Curry.
That's a solid team.
Like
That
along
is.
with Seth Curry, and then their bench that they had. Like you're gonna
That's
have
a-
Goran
that's a
Dragic
win.
They're
on
gonna
that
have to
team.
get rid
That's
of
a
Ben
win now
Simmons or Russell
team.
Westbrook.
That's a
'cause
win
they're
now
pretty much the
team.
same
It's
player.
not. First of all, that's not a win now team.
I mean,
They might
It's-
make the playoffs.
yeah, they'll make the playoffs.
They could make the
But they
play-in
have to
with
get rid
that
of
team.
Westbrook or Simmons.
They have to get rid of
Right.
They're
Westbrook.
pretty
or
much the
Simmons.
same player.
I agree.
I think if I was the Nets, I'd rather just let Kyrie, unless like another team becomes interested. If the only trade is the Lakers, if it's basically just Westbrook
That's the only
for,
trade.
for Kyrie, like say that's what it is straight up. There's no other players or picks or anything. I think I'd rather just let Kyrie walk, just because
Then to
having
take
to,
on Westbrook's contract. The
There's
problem
ton
is
of
though.
ego issues
The problem
too.
is though.
or to try and
Locker
figure
room
out
is stupid.
Ben Simmons or Westbrook.
But the problem is with that, Kyrie can't walk. The Lakers don't have enough money to sign him
Right? No, I get
unless
that.
he
But
takes
I was saying from
unless
the
he
Nets
takes a
perspective.
$30 million
30 million.
He has to
Yeah.
sign for $6 million.
He would have to
The
sign for
Lakers,
$6
they already
million.
came out with that he has to take a $6 million. He has to pay. He has to get paid $6 million
Right.
from the Lakers.
But I was saying, like, if I was the Nets, I'd rather.
I
just
would do a
let him
3-team
walk.
trade because I hear that
Or try and
I hear
figure
that the
that out,
Hornets
yeah.
actually do have a lot of like the actual like trade interest in Westbrook is actually real because they want to offload his contract and so that they can make a run at a big free agent the next year. So I would think that would be interesting because they're also trying to keep Bridges, which I think he's gonna walk. Miles Bridges.
The Hornets.
Why? Why would he walk?
I heard that he wants his max somewhere. I mean,
Us.
I heard that he like it's obviously dumb trade like rumor buzz or whatever, but I heard that he's already like taken like the Hornets out of his bios on his social media and stuff like that, which
Kyler
you
Murray
can't
did
believe
that
that.
with Arizona,
Right, but
so,
you
like,
can't believe all that, but like
I hate
still,
that
I
social
mean,
media stuff.
I'm not taking that with like I'm
A
taking
grain
that
of
with a grain of salt.
I don't know. I
basically.
just think that Hornets have something good.
I think they do.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
if Miles Bridges thinks he can get more money like as a max, I don't know if the Hornets want to give him the max contract though.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it's going to be interesting. I heard that
Mhm.
the trade, buzz with the Hornets is real. The Hornets want Russell Westbrook for his contract, which is shocking to say. But I mean, if you do facilitate a 3-team trade in that sense, you could,
Yeah.
not
That's
take
true.
Westbrook, keep Ben Simmons and stuff like that. Because I don't think you find another home for Ben Simmons or Russell Westbrook without buying one of them out.
yeah.
I mean,
agree.
I think Russell Westbrook's your best chance of finding him a new home over Ben Simmons. I don't think anyone
Mhm.
looks at Ben Simmons and still thinks he has enough value to actually give away
has
anything.
value.
I mean, he's got value, but in my opinion, after not even seeing him suit up for the Nets, do you really think that there's
Yeah,
teams
back
ready
spasms. Come on,
to?
man.
Do you really think there are teams ready to take on Ben Simmons?
I would take him.
Also,
I believe in Ben.
Okay,
Simmons.
but where's his?
I do.
I believe in Ben
I do
Simmons.
too.
I do.
I b-
I believe in Russell Westbrook a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I don't know. I still think he has another one of those Wizard seasons in him, but
I
We'll
was
see.
thinking about this the other day. I could see Westbrook. Like kind of what I was saying with Draymond in the finals. Like
Mhm.
all this hate he's been getting, like go off next year. I mean,
Yeah.
like, it's definitely building in his mind. Like he's paying attention to it, as you can see on Twitter.
right
telling
with Skip Bayless.
to shut up. But I mean, I can see Westbrook having another great season. But
I saw a tweet underneath when Skip Bayless responded, and he's like, "I'd be happy to have you on my show. Talk to me about
Yeah.
how you'll be the worst 3-point shooter in the league next year." Which I was like, "That's funny." And there was a tweet underneath it, and it had a poll, and it was like, "Who's better at their job right now, Skip Bayless and Russell Westbrook?" And it was at 50-50.
I mean, I don't even think Skip Bayless was out of line.
I mean, I don't think he was either. I
don't think
I mean,
so.
I think
Call
it's-
him Westbrook. That's a little bit out of line because
I
you are a
always say,
journalist.
Yeah.
yeah,
you're
that
right.
was my biggest
Yeah.
thing is I've always said
That's-
this, like, to me, it's just like when journalists use like
Bias.
nicknames like that, it just kind of,
Yeah.
to me, it takes away some of the integrity of what you're supposed to be doing as a journalist. So like
Mhm.
using Westbrook or LeBum or like anything like that in that sense, I think that you lose a little respect
Well,
from your
I-
audience
like-
because you're showing a
Right.
little bit
I'm-
of your bias.
it
It
gets
is
view-
all for show. I
yeah,
mean,
it
like
gets
with Stephen A.
views.
with the Cowboys, like
Right.
it gets annoying, but like it is who they are. So
And
Yeah.
it also is like kind of tough to see like on draft night Stephen A. like after Ousmane Dieng got drafted
That
by the
was-
Knicks and he basically just tear him apart. He's like, this guy sucks. He can't play. He's so bad.
I
Like
didn't
taking
even see that.
taking it out on Usman and Zhang because the Knicks made bad decisions with the
Yeah.
trade and whatever. So and I mean, to me, like as a journalist, as a sports journalist, yeah, you should, deal the facts as you should, and yeah, it is all for show in a sense, but
Like,
there
didn't he
is
say,
like
"I don't
a
even know
level
who
of
this guy is"?
yeah, he was like, I don't even know who this guy is. He's a
Right.
bum. He's a nobody. And I was like, there's a little bit of like, as like a sports journalist, like, yeah, you have to tell it how it is. And for these guys, yeah, they need to do it for like a show and they need to play it up. But at the same time, with all of that being said, you still need to have like respect, right? And you still need to like show some respect to the players that you're reporting on.
I'm gonna go
Yeah.
on a rant here
Go
a
for
little
it.
bit. ESPN sucks right now. The only thing they have going for them is JJ Redick,
Facts.
and everyone else at your company, ESPN. I know I would love to work for you one day, so this is no shot at you, but you guys need to step it up because like NBA TNT, 100 times better than you guys. NFL on Fox, 100 times better than you guys. College football on Fox, 100 times better. Like, you guys need to step your game because you are the worldwide leader in sports.
I will say though, they've got some pretty good intro music to some of their segments.
Yeah.
I think NBA on ESPN has a pretty nice intro.
Malika Andrews, you're great, by the way. You know?
Come on the podcast anytime.
Exactly.
Yes. But anyone else, sorry.
Yeah, I like the rant. All right, let's jump into something else. I know JJ
Can
wanted
we,
to
well,
talk. Or you
can we
go
talk
ahead.
about Arch Manning? Because I
Arch
have a
Manning.
take.
Yeah,
I have a take.
let's do a quick thing about Arch Manning, and then we'll do our last thing, which you wanted to do with the top 4 days of school.
All right, really quickly, my hot take for Archie Manning is that he will transfer before getting a single start at Texas.
You think
I
so?
agree.
Yes.
I mean, I don't
Quinn Ewers.
understand- I don't
Quinn
understand the
Ewers
commit.
already wants to transfer.
Out of Texas?
I heard that he
well,
wants to transfer
okay.
to Texas.
See, because Archie Manning he's going into his senior year of high
Right, so he's
school.
got a year.
Right. he's got a
So
year.
unless he forgoes that and goes to Texas this
I
year,
don't think he does.
Quinn
No.
Ewers is getting the starting job.
But I
So
heard
if he-
Quinn Ewers wanted to transfer again. Maybe that was a bad source.
I didn't hear
I mean,
anything.
as of right now, he's starting at Texas.
Yeah.
So
weird.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the transfer portal has
Yeah.
made everything. in
NIL
college-
and transfer portal is going to ruin college sports. That's what I'm gonna say.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't hate that. I actually don't hate that take either.
Texas is not a
But
great
I
spot.
don't-
I
Yeah,
thought-
I don't see
and well,
the-
I did a little research, and out of his top 6, which was Alabama,
Ole
Georgia,
I
Ole
like-
Miss,
I like
Virginia,
Hotty
and
toddy,
Texas.
baby.
Texas was second to last in the amount of active players in the NFL. So I just think,
I like
Doesn't make
Georgia.
sense.
I like his
How
fit
does
in
Payton
Georgia the
not
most.
send him to
yeah,
Tennessee or Ole Miss for
I
family?
mean,
I mean,
even if say he doesn't forego his senior year, like the whole thing with Quinn Ewers, like I don't see that as like such a big problem because so this would be technically Quinn's his senior
Sophomore.
his
his-
freshman year,
sophomore.
because he
it would be his.
well, wasn't he redshirted last year?
Well, it doesn't matter. I'm just talking in an NFL sense.
but
'cause he
like
has to play 3 years.
NFL eligibility wise, this would be
He
his
has
second
2 more
year.
years, essentially.
Right. So this would be
Mhm.
the second year, right?
Yep.
So,
so he has to play another year.
right, another year, Archie Manning would
I-
supposedly sit behind him
Yeah.
for 1 year, and then he would play.
I think that's where he transfers after that 1 year, because I feel like as good of a coach Steve Sarkisian is, he hasn't lived up to the hype yet, and I think that
Texas hasn't lived up to the hype
yeah,
since
Yeah,
they've had all the momentum in the world after they beat Oklahoma that 1 year, and it's just
Also,
fizzled out.
also, in my opinion, it doesn't matter where Arch goes. Like he has
Yeah,
2 of the greatest quarterback coaches, like
ever.
like
in his
just
corner.
exactly. So like it doesn't matter where he's at. I think he'll blossom and
I-
You think
continue
you
the
think he's a
legacy.
solid talent?
I do.
I haven't watched him enough to like really
I
care,
heard the
but I think he's solid. Like you don't just become the number 1 ranked quarterback just because of your
Mhm.
last name.
I would
I was
say-
pretty interested that that's was it 24/7 that ranked him as the number 1 recruit of all time. I think I saw
That's a
something like
stretch.
that.
Okay.
Well, I
stuff
think I
like-
saw something like that, and I was like, that's a bit of a stretch.
Well, yeah, stuff like that.
The other thing I found interesting was it went viral on Twitter, and I like I said, I haven't watched a ton of it, but it was like some of the clips on his highlight reel, and they're like, dude, he's playing against like JV level talent. Like, cause
Yeah.
like the teams he was playing against like weren't
I
like
saw that.
going for hard tackles. Nobody was like really shedding any blocks.
I mean, it
like
is
well,
Texas high school football.
it's
but
Texas
still.
high school football, but still like,
No, that's not.
I mean,
Texas.
any
or is he not living in
He's
Texas?
in Louisiana.
Louisiana?
Yeah, Newman's in
okay.
Louisiana.
I guess I
thought
thought
he was
Texas
in- I
because
thought
he's
he was
going to
in Texas,
Texas.
too.
He's in Louisiana.
But I was
Still,
gonna
I mean,
ask,
South
do you guys
Southern
think,
football is still good.
Do you guys think it's easier to judge high school athletes for basketball or football entering college? I would say basketball.
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 I don't know.
I
'cause-
mean, because you can go off of athleticism and like shot creation, like, and that's like two things that you can look at. I mean, with like kind of with football in that sense, unless it's a skill position, like, you know, wide receiver and quarterback, where you can tell like, oh, he's got the arm power, he's got the accuracy, he's got the
Right.
legs, and like with running backs, he's like, oh, he's got the elusiveness, he's got the speed, he's got all that stuff, he's got the tangibles. I feel like for things like tight end and for, you know, blockers and defensive positions, it's a little tougher to judge
Yeah,
that. I'd say
Like
with
for
basketball,
basketball,
like you can kind of do your job and
Yeah,
people
that's
take
what-
notice.
Well,
As
that-
a freshman, Des Watson was getting no looks. Like no one thought he was gonna be who he was. I actually thought Des Watson, because he had the size and he could. He's a basketball player.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, I think just the difference, and where I think like it's quote unquote easier to like identify basketball talent would just be it's a lot easier to be hidden on a football team
Mm-hmm.
than it is to be on a basketball team, because you could have
yeah, because there are 11 guys on the field,
well,
whereas
I mean,
there are only
that,
5.
and
on the
I just
court.
feel like I mean
everyone
football
has
is
one job on football.
yeah,
Right.
football's more of a like you're heavily reliant on everyone else on the field
And
for team success, obviously.
I agree.
And especially like just for the easy example, wide receiver, if your quarterback's absolutely terrible, then like
Yeah.
you're probably
Right.
not going to get seen as much or have the
Mm-hmm.
accolades or the stats to go along with the attention.
I agree, and it's similar with running backs and offensive line. If your offensive
Yep.
line is bad, it's gonna be hard for you to make
Yeah.
not, like something out of nothing. And the other thing, that's like another thing that I believe is like you could have like an 80-yard touchdown, and people look at the running back. Like, I mean, not good scouts won't just look at the running back, but like a lot of people just look at the running back. Like, look at this 80-yard touchdown he had. But a lot of the people don't look at the blockers that set him up for that. Like
Right, exactly.
tons of space.
I
to,
mean,
like, set him
well,
up for that
because
run.
O-line, I feel like it's kind of, you don't really, like, when you look at O-line, at even at the college level, it's nowhere near the same
Right,
as it is in high
it's in the
school, so-
trenches, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's like a thankless job.
I would think,
The
like-
offensive line is a thankless job.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you do that, you do your job well. Your quarterback gets all the.
If you
glory.
have the size, you're gonna play D1 football.
right,
Oh,
Yeah,
for
that-
sure.
yeah.
For sure. But and that's why I feel like it's a lot harder to be hidden on a basketball
Yeah.
team.
I agree.
Mhm.
With a basketball team, you're gonna be seen.
Yeah.
It is pretty easy to be left out on a football team. I agree with that for sure. So Archie Manning, you think he pans out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. If he does transfer, I think he'll go to Georgia,
Right.
just given their
Yeah.
quarterback situation. And
And I also like I
Hotty
will.
toddy.
I will say this though. I was pretty interested about because the documentary came about his dad. Because a lot of people look at his dad and they're like, oh yeah, the Manning that didn't play football, but like he was a stud before he got injured, and
Yeah.
like he was like generational talent, and like it
Right.
is kind of a sad like story because he is looked at as like, oh the
odd one out.
the odd one out because both his brothers went on to be Super Bowl winning quarterback, Hall of Fame quarterbacks,
Yeah.
and like he had like probably like the most potential out of all of them at receiver, and I don't know, it's kind of tough, but I think that's why like it's gonna be cool to see him like go the distance and do what he can.
Yeah. That's crazy bloodline.
Yeah,
Jeez.
the Mannings. It's like the
They're definitely the Kennedys of the football world.
Great analogy.
that's why I like that.
Football royalty.
Football royalty for sure. Dominic, you brought this up last weekend. You want to talk about this?
So top school days of the year.
I kind of thought about this in the car today.
Field day.
I mean, yeah,
Field
Field
day.
Day, Spirit Day, number one.
Snow
yeah.
days up there.
Snow days up there.
Yeah.
Okay, here's an
Last day
underrated
of
one.
school.
Last
When
day
they
of
roll
school.
the TV.
Last day before winter break.
Last day before winter break. Here's
Well,
an underrated one. Here's an underrated one. Ready? Meet the teacher. Because it's not the first day, so you still got a little bit of summer left, but you get to see some of your friends. You get to see the new classroom. You got all the new stuff. Like I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just look online.
You just look online. Well, I mean, like in elementary school
Yeah.
and stuff like
I
that.
guess,
Because you get
yeah.
to see the new
Ice
classroom.
cream. Like
You
that's
see
how I
all that
run.
stuff.
Yeah, ice cream every time. So
Mhm.
that was pretty cool.
That was also. I felt like that was a good day.
I guess.
I felt like in middle school, like the best games were like when you played like middle school like sports was like game days.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Like-
any game day for baseball. like,
Yeah.
that was so much like just preparing for that.
Yeah, I think like when we played in what 6th or 7th grade, and we like for basketball, it was like right after school ended, you would already start putting up shots like in the gym
Yeah.
to warm
Yeah.
up for a game that was at like 5 o'clock. So.
Yeah. No.
Or
Any-
any day where there is a like pep assembly or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those are
I
pretty
actually
fun.
did like
miss-
spirit days.
I miss those days.
Which days?
The like spirit days where we had those like assemblies.
Yeah,
Especially going to private school too. so
Remember
you
when?
have to adjust
Remember
that.
when we
Yeah.
did that half court shootout for that one game?
that was yeah. I
Oh,
remember that.
like
yeah.
That was a lot
that
of
in
fun.
middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
I think those were really good days. I was kind of bummed that they didn't do as many pep rallies, at least at my high school. Like towards the end, like I think the last pep rally we did was like beginning of sophomore year, and they didn't do any after that. So.
I mean, we always did one homecoming and
Waterson.
yeah,
Waterson
I was gonna say.
and tournament games.
Yeah, well, that's kind of. I always liked pep rallies and
I,
assemblies and
I
stuff
was gonna
like that.
say one of
Me
the
going
ones that
to- Me going to Liberty and Waterson showed me two different sides of pep rallies.
Mhm.
Pep rallies at Waterson are like pep rallies. Like for the
Mhm.
sales
Yep.
game, like it was an
Mhm.
actual pep rally. Where at Liberty, you're pretty much like recognizing everyone, like blah blah blah.
It's
blah,
like
blah.
it's not like a pep rally. It's like an assembly.
and people try
Yeah.
to skip it. So like
Yeah.
it's like at end of school, like pep rallies at Waterson. It was beginning of the day. Like let's get it
Mhm.
going.
Yep.
I also think that like pep rallies where you can actually like the students are actually involved and like into
Yeah.
it. It's
Yeah.
like more fun than like ours was like mandatory. End of the day, you just sat there and like
Yeah.
occasionally clap, and
No
a
one
kid would
cared
like
about
a
sports.
kid would
Oh.
like moan
There-
super loud to
yeah.
get a laugh out of like his friends, but that would be it.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite days of high school was when girls volleyball for DeSales went to the Final Four, and literally that school day was like the first 3 periods, then pep assembly, and then we were
Mhm.
dismissed from the pep assembly.
Yeah.
So
You got to
Was
didn't you
that-
get to
and
drive?
yeah,
too?
we got like
We got to leave
four
early.
like
Mhm.
half of the school showed up to Wright State at 12 p.m. like
Yeah.
after like noon game, middle of the school day.
That's
And
gotta
we
be a
had
lot of
like
fun.
400
Did you guys
kids
win?
there.
The
yeah,
student
we won the
spirit
state
was higher
championship.
at Waterson than it was Liberty.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
like literally, no one cares.
I
about
think
Liberty.
it's also the difference between private and public schools. It's like
There's history at private.
there's
schools.
history of
Yeah.
private
Yeah.
schools, and
I
it's
love
also
that.
like you kind of want to be there, I guess, in a
Mhm.
sense. Like
Mhm.
you're choosing that over your public school in
Did
your
you-
district, where like Liberty was more of like you went to a public school like
'Cause
just
that's where
because of
you
where
were
you
supposed to
like
go,
live. That's
yeah.
where you're supposed to go.
I would say the best time, in like a ball school, is the last 30 days of senior year.
Yep,
I saw this on TikTok the other day.
I saw that same TikTok. I was gonna bring it up.
Can't
Because,
relate,
like-
can't relate.
But
Yeah.
literally, like, you're
Bozo.
friends with everyone
Yeah.
during this
Yeah.
time. It's so cool. Like
It's-
everyone comes together. It's all kumbaya. Like we're about
Yeah.
to graduate and never see each other again, so we're gonna be friends.
I agree with that. There was people I didn't talk to all 4 years of high school,
Yeah.
and I became like super good friends with them in the last 30 days. I mean, like every
Yeah.
like people ignore like not that there's a lot of this nowadays, but like people ignore like the cliques or the friend
Mhm.
groups and all this. You just hang out with everybody,
Yeah.
right? You got a class with someone, you like hang out with them, you say what's up, you do all that stuff. I feel bad for Ian because he didn't get that because it was like he was a senior year during when COVID hit,
yep.
so. I feel kind of bad for
Loser.
that, but
Yep.
no, I will agree that 30,
Virtual
30
graduation.
yeah. The last 30 days of senior year, because the TikTok you saw was the guy wanted to make a movie based on like
Yeah.
the last 30 days of
Mhm.
senior year,
Mhm.
which I think is a really cool idea for a movie.
Yeah.
You guys got any like last days or school days that you liked? I think snow days is definitely one that was good.
Snow days.
Mhm.
I liked what was that one? It was it our it would have been our freshman year, your sophomore year, where we had like a week straight because it was so cold, like the
Yeah.
snowstorm.
But like in
Mhm.
private school,
Mhm.
you go to school pretty much no matter what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we would just go off of Columbus.
Yeah, I guess Liberty closed a
Sometimes.
lot.
Liberty.
That was
Like,
if
I would
the
wake up some mornings-
diocese let us.
My sister's like, I got a snow day. I'm like, screw you. I gotta go to school.
Yeah. I mean, I think the reason Liberty closed a lot was because there's like a road, like really, really north in the
Liberty's
district
soft, that's what it
that like
is.
doesn't get, well, yeah, but there's also like a road really, really north in the district that doesn't get snow plows. Like,
Yeah.
like they get them, but like it's really, really late in the day. So like normally by the time they get them, like the school's
Yeah.
already like, it's
Well,
like 10 o'clock.
I mean, also like public schools, there most of the transportation is
Yeah.
busing,
Mhm.
and like if you
Mhm.
can't get those out, then you're just done.
And for private, not every neighborhood has
No.
a bus.
True.
Only
Correct.
some. And it's like location, like hubs.
Also, while
Yeah.
we're talking private public schools, I saw something. OHSAA said that they were announcing changes to divisions and stuff that they do, but a lot of people in the comments were like, you should separate private and public schools.
I don't think so.
What's your guys' take on that?
I
It
mean,
doesn't make sense. I think
I mean,
if,
it's already like good enough that St. Charles is Division 1 because
I would say
Yeah.
the only reason I would say it does make sense is because here's the problem: is like in Columbus we don't see this as much, right?
Mhm.
Because like there's public schools that are like
Johnny
better or
Mhm.
if like just as good
Pick
or
North
if
The
not better.
recruiting argument is stupid too because
It's-
Coughlin
yeah.
literally got in trouble for.
It's dumb and it's
they,
dumb.
And they kind of counter with that because like a transfer student like counts as like 2 students or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
I think that the only reason I would say it's dumb is because in Columbus we don't see it as much. One, because like there's like shadiness in recruiting with high
Yeah.
schools and stuff like that. But the other thing is that, the private schools and public schools are just as competitive
Yeah,
in
those
Columbus,
are-
like with each other. I mean, DeSales and Liberty went back and forth our senior year in basketball. And I think the only like major things I think is like those Cincinnati schools because like they do actually recruit like the
Yeah.
Cincinnati and Cleveland schools.
like
And
St.
the Cleveland ones
Ignatius.
not as much, but I
Mhm.
do think the
St.
Cincinnati ones do a lot
Ignatius.
because I think the reason that they have the upside is they can get players from Kentucky.
yeah,
And they can
Yeah.
like get people
Well,
like come
Mhm.
across state lines to
Mhm.
go to high school in
Mm.
Cincinnati.
Mm.
So I think that's
Yeah.
another interesting
But the public schools in
tidbit.
Cincinnati, like especially in basketball, they're pretty
Yeah, they're
good.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Is Moeller private or are they
Yes.
public?
Yeah.
They're
It's
all
private.
boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
I don't know they're all boys school.
I
I,
didn't
I
know
thought they
those
were
were
private
boys.
though.
There's like a girls' school and a boys' school right next to each other,
okay.
but
Oh.
Okay.
Like St. Ed, St.
at
Ignatius,
least
Moeller. I think
so. I could be
those are the
throwing out false
schools.
information right now.
Yeah, those are the schools that get all the like recognition for
Yeah.
like the private versus public thing because they
Right.
always win the state championship.
Right.
But people don't realize that like out of the Columbus division, it's almost always a public school.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
always
Like,
Pick North.
It's like Pick North.
Pickerington,
I think
Pick
in
North.
basketball it was like Liberty, Pick
Liberty.
North,
Westerville
Westerville Central.
See, that's the
Yeah,
nice
like-
thing about Columbus too. Is like it's kind of like a toss up every
Yeah,
year.
I like that. But I think it's
Yeah.
just because the reason that it's
Centerville
dumb, I guess.
beat more when they
Right.
won the state
Well,
Gabe
championship
Cups.
years ago.
Centerville's also like
Yeah, it's only-
Centerville
I-
is it's like an anomaly in
Yeah,
a
I was
sense.
gonna
Like
say.
they've
Yeah,
got
They
like
do recruit too.
they do
kinda.
recruit a
They
little
get
bit.
players coming from out
Yeah.
of the country. So.
right. I mean, they're just like moved to Centerville and
Yeah.
play
I mean,
with
Brooke
us.
Cupps
but-
is the greatest
mean-
high school basketball coach I've ever met. So,
Right.
Mhm.
I like Gabe Cups is insane and he's gonna do
Yeah.
great things at Indiana. So
Mhm.
best Indiana point guard of all time. You hear it here first.
over Victor Oladipo.
Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
That's the first
it.
person you think.
I mean, I was just thinking recent. Yeah, Victor Oladipo, Johnny Davis. Like,
Johnny Davis went to Wisconsin. That's twice now.
oh my gosh. I'm
My
thinking. I
God.
literally said that earlier because I was thinking of the number 23 on
Bozo.
Indiana. Number 23.
Trace Jackson Davis. You said it
Trace
last
Jackson
episode.
Davis. I said it last episode. I got him and Johnny Davis confused, and I did it again.
They look
I think
similar,
I gotta end the
kinda.
podcast here. You guys got hot takes?
Uh,
Yeah, you hear it from the special guest first.
Yeah, Ian. What's your hot take?
well, I thought the Archie Manning take would be because I was talking.
Your hot take. So you came to this
Yeah.
podcast with only one hot take
Let's
prepared.
do a fun
Rookie
one.
mistake.
I know. I did
Do you
not.
not have any other hot takes, Ian?
No, because I agreed with Dom about the Brandon being or could be rookie of
Could
the
be
year.
rookie of the year. I think he has the best chance in San Antonio because, in my opinion, with all of the other lottery teams, and especially off the bat, the initial thought was that he'd end up in Cleveland, and I was like, I don't think he starts in Cleveland. Like, I don't think he has a starting spot in Cleveland.
No, not with Jared Allen.
So that's why.
Mobley. Or well,
Well, yeah, they're centers.
Well, yeah,
No, but
well,
yeah, I agree. Like
Well-
with them going two bigs, yeah, I agree. But I think that him falling to the Spurs where they need a shooting guard and they need a scorer, he's gonna be like get starting minutes right off the bat.
I have a hot take if you want me to.
Yeah, let's go. Start off.
Crawfish is the most overrated food. No question.
Crawfish.
I
Yeah.
can't eat crawfish. So
Yeah. I mean, to me,
I don't
I
understand the
love,
hype about it. Like,
I love
throw
like
crawfish on the
seafood,
table. Everyone gets
like seafood boils.
Yeah, I mean,
seafood boils are really good.
I'm lazy when it comes to eating. I don't like food I have to work for.
Yeah. Then like shellfish and all that stuff is probably not.
I mean,
yours.
I'll
Seafood's
eat,
just overrated
I'll
in
eat
general.
any kind of fish you want me to. If
You
it's
if it's like
served
prepped for
me.
you. Say that again.
seafood is overrated in general.
What?
You just can't eat it. You just can't eat it. That's why you think it'd be like my brother being like, yeah, PB and J's overrated. Yeah, because you can't eat it.
I don't know. I mean, I've had fish before, and it just
Okay, but you also can't. You haven't had lobster and crab and calamari and shrimp, and
Are you a sushi guy?
he
No.
can't be.
well, no.
It's
I'm
like,
not a
what
sushi
sushi
guy.
can you eat? You can have like a cucumber roll.
That's tough.
No, that's. But I mean, I really love seafood. I'm in agreement with though. I don't want to work for it though. Like I like.
traditional wings, but
Yes, I don't. I like boneless over traditional because.
I like traditional. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no, I
Get
agree.
closer to Mike.
I like traditional. Don't get me wrong, but like boneless wings, like it's just so easy. I know they're like chicken nuggets, but still.
I'm in so much agreement with that because
And-
I've always said this about boneless wings over bone-in wings. They're like less messy.
Yes.
You get a better you get more meat for the better price
Mhm.
because you get like they cost a little less and without the bone it's just like straight meat all the way through.
But it's
Yeah.
flats over drums.
But it
every
is like
week.
yeah.
Just so you know, guys. Flats over.
I also the thing with bone-in wings is I don't like the like inconsistency with the
I agree.
meat. Like
Yeah.
there's like light and dark meat, and
Mhm.
it's just like I don't like.
But like they do have like a richer flavor. I would
yes,
agree. But
yeah, but I'd rather give
actual
up.
meat.
Yeah.
I'd rather give up
processed,
the
it's chicken
flavor
nuggets.
for.
right, I'm that's why I'm always like a boneless type guy at restaurants, but just also the price is big on it. But I agree, I don't want to work for the food, so like that's why like the one time I went to a restaurant, it was like a hibachi restaurant. It was in Athens when we went, and
Hibachi
I
in
got
Athens? That seems scary.
yeah, it was pretty good. I mean,
You're
I
not
got
wrong.
I got the shrimp in it, and they like they didn't detail it, which is annoying to me because
Detail?
like take the tail off.
I thought you meant
Detail.
like
No, you know what
car
I'm saying.
detail. Like what are you talking about?
They didn't take the tail off of it, which to me is like annoying because if you're eating shrimp combined in rice,
And
like
then
shrimp
it
fried
just-
rice,
Oh, it's in rice, and they didn't take the tail off.
yeah, it's
And
like
then
shrimp fried
just-
rice.
just
Now you got to
crunch.
take it off yourself. Like it's annoying.
Or just eat the tail and suck it up.
Deal with that later.
Yeah.
JJ,
Might
you
be
got a
rough
hot take?
poop.
You got a hot take, JJ?
Cake is vastly overrated.
I mean, like I'm never gonna choose to eat
is
cake.
I
but
vastly
cake-
used to think that,
overrated.
Cake
but
is
see, my big
the
problem
best.
was icing. But now I love icing, so I don't think cakes are.
I'll never
overrated.
choose to
I
eat
don't-
cake.
I
I'll
don't
agree
with
with you on that. But
Brown-
cake,
Brownies top 3.
Yeah.
brownies
agree.
number one.
Brownies, yeah, I'll take number 1 with brownies.
We're
I-
talking about desserts.
Brownies,
I mean, like
brownies,
I don't
cake,
eat-
cookies.
it depends what kind of desserts we're talking
Nah,
about. Because
I-
cannolis are the best dessert, but that's like special.
I feel like you could be like strawberry shortcake or say something like
Oh.
really random.
tiramisu
But like
too.
tiramisu, yeah. But if you're like going
Chocolate
categories,
mousse.
chocolate mousse. good.
Well, we gotta throw
Let's talk,
cheesecake
okay,
in
let's
there
do
for
box
Nico.
desserts.
I'm not throwing
Box
cheesecake.
desserts. What's the best? Brownies are the best. Box desserts.
Like box mixes.
yeah.
I go brownies, yeah. Brownies, cake,
Cookies.
cookies.
No, cookies, cake.
To each their own. I feel like they're interchangeable at 2
That's
and
a
3
good
for me.
take,
For
though.
me, they're
Hot take.
interchangeable at
Cake
2 and
is
3.
overrated. Vastly overrated.
It depends on what kind though.
It's not good.
Ice cream or cake, JJ?
I said cake. Oh. What do I rather have?
Yeah.
Oh, ice cream. I'd
Ice
rather
cream
have ice
any day
cream.
of the week.
I'd rather have ice cream. It's so much better than cake.
Yes, I agree.
Cake.
I don't like ice cream cake
Me neither.
because it's like
yeah, I
it's,
just
it's
rather would have
I used
ice
to like
cream.
it.
ice cream and
kid.
cake because to me like the problem is that you deal with the
So much different kind of stuff.
what's
And
the
it-
difference
Sorbet.
of it and it's not really good like combined and the cake itself is cold now
Yeah.
so it's
and,
like
and it melts too. So.
right and it gets all soggy. I don't
Sorbet.
like it. Sorbet's good.
Delicious.
Gelato?
Sorbet's good.
Oh,
Gelato's
gelato is
good.
so good.
We could sit here and just name desserts for so long.
Indeed.
Ian, you got another hot take or we ending it here?
I can't.
Oh,
think
we
of
need
anything
one
off
from
the
you.
top of
I
my
need
head.
one for me. I'm trying
You
to
gotta
think.
think of one.
I don't know. Come back to me.
Oh my gosh. All right.
All right,
Count down.
I'll do a sports hot take because we were talking about it earlier. I think the Browns finish with
Wait.
Oh no.